Who's on the front line through the battles and the pains, with a camera in the fray and the world on our screens. We're the voice of the silence, the witness of the scenes. Headlines flashing bright, from the shadows we arise, with the truth in our hands under perilous skies. Every story told is a battle we fight. Through the darkness and the fear, we bring the light. In the chaos, in the flames, we'll stand tall, with the courage to reveal through the rise and the fall. From the embers of the war to the echoes of the call, we're the eyes of the world and we'll never stall. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth lies, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. From the ruins and the wreckage, every story's told. Through the tears and the heartbreak, the bravery unfolds. In the darkest hours, when the world's torn apart, KLW brings the stories straight from the heart. With the cameras rolling through the wreckage and the pain, we capture the reality while the world remains. Every angle, every moment in the line of fire, we're the pulse of the battlefield, never to tire. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth lies, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth lies, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. Through the smoke and the ruins, we'll pierce the veil. With every breath we take and every tale, we're the heartbeat of the conflict in the shadowed frail. With KLW's vision, the truth won't fail. Stand firm, we're the beacon in the fray. Through the dust and the fury, we'll light the way. In the fight for the truth, where the heroes lay. KLW, the story's here to stay. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth lies, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. So here's to the courage and the tales we unfold. In the heart of the conflict, our story's told. KLW, with the truth we hold. In the fire of the war, our legacy bold.
You can't handle the truth!
KLW World News coming to you live this morning, and I am absolutely convinced that hell is about to freeze over. That's right. This morning, I got up at 5 a.m., came in to check my email, and I received an email from YouTube asking me if I would be a monetized creator. I about fell out of my chair. YouTube, who has refused to monetize KLW World News for the last 5 years, has approved us to be a monetized content provider. I guess they missed us, or, well, maybe the money we made for them, they missed. Now, they've only done this on one of our 5 channels, which this is the one. That's why we wanted to make the announcement here. Now, we are watching things this morning, what you're seeing here in your upper left-hand corner. We'll go through it for you. First off, let's go to yesterday. This was the flight path along the Baltics yesterday of surveillance aircraft, keeping an eye on what the Ruskies were doing. Had NATO up here in the north. The Swedes were flying along the Finnish border, having a look-see at what the Ruskies were doing. Swedes were down here as well. Plus, we had Brio flying in and around. Now, today, well, it's a little different story. Today, we have the Swedes hard at it again. We've got a P-8 up along the northern edge of Norway. And we have the Swedes here through the Baltics, keeping a close eye on the Russians. Another Russian plane leaving out of Belarus, as well as we've got Brio down here keeping a close eye. And as you can see right here, actually, this is the, here is Brio. Now, why is Brio here? Well, of course, that's because Brest is here. And this is the area where, like we told you it would happen, the drones were launched out of that flew into Poland. Here's the the airstrip that we told you that they would be launched out of. And sure as shit, they were. So they were launched out of there. Some of them were anyway. But Brio is here off the coast, keeping a close eye on it. And we've got other aircraft investigating in the area to watch what's going on, as well as up here at Haradna. And as you can see, we've got multiple flights flying over here. Why? That's because there are S-400 missile sites, S-500 missile sites right here. These are the ones we've been telling you about. Other people say that there's no buildup along the Baltics. Well, no, there is. Okay, so for those who say there's no buildup, you're stupid, because we've got satellite imagery to prove it. Multiple news organizations and government organizations have also verified what we've been saying for a year now. So, anyway, we're going to keep an eye on all of this here this morning for you. And a couple of things we're going to do is we're going to set it up so as far as the streams here that we do on YouTube, the ones we do here are going to be for members and subscribers only. That way we don't have to deal with stupid trolls. So we're going to do streams here. We're still going to do our streams on Rumble. And then in addition to that, we are talking about doing streams on a platform called Kick. Now, the streams that I'm going to do on Kick will be streams of where it's just me sitting here answering questions, talking about what's going on in the news, talking about conflicts. That's going to be kind of our coffee hangout deal over there. And that's because the fine folks over there have agreed to pay me hourly. That's right. They will pay me guaranteed income on Kick for me being there to answer questions. And that will vary depending upon how many of you guys are there. That will vary between $15, which didn't get my attention, but the $150 an hour did get my attention. So they said that it would vary depending upon how many people were watching me, from $15 to $150 an hour. So I think it'll be a long time before I make $150 an hour, but 15 is better than getting ripped off by Rumble and YouTube. So we wanted to make the announcement here to let you know that we have been monetized. And again, this is something we wanted to do years ago on Rumble, to have private streams. That's all we wanted, was private streams, to get rid of the trolls, to make it so as that people who are actually interested in the news could ask intelligent questions. That's the only reason we ever wanted monetized on YouTube, was to allow that feature and allow to have a much, much larger viewership base. So what we need to do is to let the fine folks know. And how do I go about doing it? What I need to do is I need to start another stream on our other channel, and then listen to this channel, and then rebroadcast this channel over there. That way the folks over there will know that we are over here. And what we'll do is we'll put this chat over there, or put the link to this stream over there, so people over there know what's going on. So I'll show you guys everything that's going on here. Also, how do you like the new digs? So over my shoulder over here, you can see the top screen up there. That is our spectrum analyzer, and this is it's SDR, software defined radio. But anyway, that's the frequency that we're monitoring, which is 11175, and you can see it here on this monitor of what we've got going on. So anyway, we're going to keep bringing you guys the news and showing you guys what's going on. We're also going to continue to do our war watches on Rumble. We now have 17 channels on Rumble. We have news channels, movie channels. We got a comedy channel. We got a space weather prediction channel. We've got a lot of stuff over on Rumble since ScrewTube has been such a pain in the derriere. So if you guys will bear with me, I will go over. Actually, I got a couple of things I got to do here. So the first thing I need to do is to bring up the frequencies that we would like to monitor. So for those of you who have forgotten how we do this, 8, 9, or 9 or 2, listen closely. 8, 9, or 9 or 2 will be on the left channel, so you know what you're hearing. And 11175 will be on the right channel. And then we've heard a variety of different. One of the things that we're going to start doing that we haven't been doing is monitoring satellite communications. We have a way to monitor satellite communications, and we're going to be wiring that up. I wanted to do it over the weekend, but it didn't work out. There's too many other things going on. But we will be able to monitor satellite communications, tactical, military satellite communications, and we can't monitor the encrypted satellite communications, but we can monitor other communications, and we're going to start doing that. All right, well, we will be here. We're also going to be on Rumble as well. So we're actually already on Rumble. We're on multiple channels over on Rumble. We're on Rumble 24 hours a day. Also, when the fecal matter impacts the air handling device, we won't be here. We'll be on Rumble. So just so you are aware, because when there's breaking news, there's things that we want to show you, and YouTube will give us copyright strikes for. And we're not here for copyright strikes. We're here to share the news. So what we will do is we will break the news here, we will tell you about the news here, and then we will go to Rumble and give it to you. Because we show things that Rumble or the YouTube won't allow. You know, we talk about nugs, we talk about blood, gut, and gore, we talk about the war, we talk about a lot of things that this platform will not allow. But again, the reason we wanted monetized on this platform was so as that we could have streams and not have to deal with stupid trolls. So if you guys will bear with me a moment, I want to go over to my other stream, or go over to the other channel and let everybody know over there what is going on. And I'm going to start a stream over there and then rebroadcast this stream on that stream. And if we rebroadcast this stream on that stream, then everybody over there can get the great news as well. So I'll be back. Give me a few minutes. sounds like the Russians are mad. That is over the horizon HF radar that the Russians are using to jam U.S. communications. Now, I am speaking on our primary YouTube channel, and it is being rebroadcast on our other YouTube channel, and the link is at the top of the chat on that channel, and you need to come over to that link. So click that link and then follow that channel, because we're not going to be broadcasting on, if you are on the channel that has the link at the top of it, and let me check to make sure I'm not talking out of my derriere. Yeah. If you are listening on the other channel, if the chat has a link in the top of it, you need to follow that link and come over to our primary. That's right. If you don't, you're not going to see a link in this one, AR. That means you're on the right channel. But if you do see a link pinned at the top, then you're on the wrong channel, and you need to click that link and go over and subscribe to that channel. Okay, so here we go. So you guys can see my ugly mug here. So if you've got rats in your attic or in your basement, just please put a monitor down there with my video, and that should resolve the issue. So we're sitting out here in the radio room. We are monitoring. You can hear the frequencies that are coming in through the spectrum analyzer. That's it right there. That's the frequency that we're operating on. We're actually monitoring 21175 and 89902. 89902 is on your left speaker, and 11175 is on your right for your listening pleasure. We are also monitoring flight radar, and so what you're seeing on your right-hand screen is yesterday's surveillance platform or surveillance flights. It's your upper right that I'm fiddling with here, and this is today's surveillance flights. Cactus, where are you getting the information that the Russians have delivered blood supplies to the border? What is your source for that? So, yeah, everybody that was over on the, if you have a link at the top of your chat to another YouTube channel, please click on that, because the channel that you are watching it on, we're not going to be broadcasting on anymore. This will be the only YouTube channel we broadcast on. So, you need to come over here. So, and what is being broadcast on that channel is a rebroadcast of what's on this channel. Watch, they'll give me a copyright strike for rebroadcasting my own content. That'll be interesting. Well, at least it'll be on that channel and not on this one. So, dude, don't back over my camera. Okay. Anyway, so there is a lot going on today. We are monitoring what is going on down next to Venezuela. Also, we have identified the underground bunker at the airport for the president of Venezuela. So we are going to have that and show you guys that. Also, we have, well, as you can see, the tracking of the ships there. We also have the tracking of the aircraft operating in the area. We have the surveillance flights along the Baltic for ZAPAD 2025 as of yesterday, and we have the surveillance flights for today. In fact, this is a live look at all of the surveillance aircraft that are flying, keeping an eye on all of the activities for ZAPOD 2025. Also, our news broadcasts will still be on Rumble. So if you want to see our news broadcast, you need to come over there for that. And we are also talking about doing live streams, just talking to people, having a chat about the news and so on and so forth. We're talking about doing that on Kick. Kick has offered us to be paid on Kick to do a broadcast each day for at least 1 hour per day. And we are contemplating doing that. We will continue to look at that to see if that's something we actually want to do. And if it is something we want to do, well, then we're going to go ahead and do that. Again, that'll be coming up on Kick. So we're looking at that to determine whether or not we want to do Kick or not. It'll be just like this. I'll be sitting here taking questions out of the chat and letting you guys know what's going on in real time and answering your questions. So that's the plan of what we can do there. Let's see here. Also want to come over here and get... I'm doing better. That's for damn sure. So let's see if I can even find myself here. All right, yeah, that's the other one. So there are 46 people over there. Yep, so all right, so you guys on the second page, the one that I just put the chat in, it says you guys need to go to the link at the top of the page. You are on the KLW channel that we are going to discontinue. So there are still 54 of you there watching, and y'all need to go to the link at the top of the chat and subscribe to that channel, because that's going to be the channel that we're going to be broadcasting on. What did that person say? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's always better to have some army than no army. If you don't have any protection at all, they'll just walk straight through. You got to have troops. What in the world? Let me do this. That's interesting. They took down, wow. They took down the link. All right, again, if you are seeing the link, that I just posted in the chat, you need to go to that link to be on the primary channel. There's still 43 of you over there, 49 of you, and you need to be on the other channel that has 140 or 154 people. That's right. If you don't see a link on this side, it means you're on the right channel. So, yes, we're going to continue to do Rumble. We have 17 channels on Rumble. We are making the announcement today that we will be doing some broadcasting on this YouTube channel because YouTube has agreed to monetize us. And so when we're trying to do public service announcements, we can do them here. Once the show gets going and people get the breaking news, so on and so forth, then we will go back to Rumble and cover the news over there because we can show things on Rumble and talk about things on Rumble that we can't talk about on this platform. So all we have ever wanted from YouTube was the ability to have private streams that the only people that are allowed in the chat are people who support the channel. And we begged YouTube for years to let us do that, and they wouldn't let us do that. The Russians, as far as ZAPAD, they are doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Yesterday, they parked Iskander missile launchers in the middle of the interstate, what we would consider an interstate, in the middle of the interstate in Kaliningrad, just blocked the entire interstate and set up missile launcher after missile launcher after missile launcher, Iskander missiles specifically, to threaten Poland with, is what they did yesterday. There have been drone flights. There have been a lot of things going on, things that they shouldn't be doing, but they still are. You're actually hearing HF over the horizon jamming on the frequencies that we monitor that the U.S. uses for HFGCS. Kevin Bacon, you need to go to the link in the chat and go to the other channel. There's still 38 of you over there with Kevin. Y'all guys need to go to the other channel because the channel that you guys are watching, there's now 44 of you over there. That channel is going to be discontinued. So please go to the link to the other YouTube channel. That's going to be the only YouTube channel we're going to be broadcasting on. The one that you are watching now is going to be a backup. But all the news is going to be on the other channel. So we want to make sure that you get to see that. There's 20,000 of you on that channel, but they need to be on the other channel. The other channel only has, I don't know how many subscribers we got on it. But anyway, that's the one you need to go to. Yes, Jojo, that is the correct channel. Yes, there are a lot of ribbons over Europe. The ones on the top right screen are from yesterday. These over here are from today. Ships around the Caribbean and aircraft around the Caribbean. All right, glad you made it, Kevin. So yeah, there's still 41 over there. We'll get them over here eventually. Yeah, Carl K., you need to go to the link above you and go to our primary YouTube channel. You're on the backup channel, and we're going to stop using that one. So please go to the link that you see above you in the chat and click on that and then follow that channel. That's our primary YouTube channel from now on. This morning we were invited to be monetized by YouTube. Again, I about fell out of my chair. Couldn't believe that YouTube wanted to modify KLW World News. Are you kidding me? I was like,
Wow, man.
couldn't believe it. Thank you, Carl. Yeah, they monetized this today. I couldn't believe it. About fell out of my chair. I was like, what? We've been asking to be monetized. And again, we only wanted to be monetized for one thing, and that was so as that we could have private streams without the trolls, members. And that's all we wanted, was just to have private streams. People could watch the stream, but the only people that could chat were members. And that would get rid of all the trolls and all of the idiots and so on and so forth. And I wouldn't have to keep saying,
Shut up, bitch!
To all of the idiots that were coming in, or
Silence! I kill you!
Because I was really getting tired of that I had to do to all the trolls that were coming in. So we asked YouTube for 5 years, just monetize us so as that we can have private streams that only our members could watch. And they wouldn't do it. They would not do it. The flick, no, they invited us back. It was kind of interesting that we got an email asking us to stream on YouTube as monetized content creators. And I'm like, okay. So, and by the way, you need to move to the link above there. Flick and Brandy. Y'all need to go to that link and follow the stream there. You're on the channel that we're getting rid of. Everybody else is on the correct one. So there's 41 of you over there that need to go to the link that I just put in the chat. And there's 172 in the other one. It sure looks like they missed us there, Gun. Now, we're going to continue to stream on Rumble. We're going to continue to do all of our content over there like we are. Also, we've been offered anywhere from $15 to $150 an hour to stream on Kick. So we are contemplating whether or not we want to do that. Now, if I do the content on Kick, what we're going to do over there is it's just going to be, it's going to be for rat and mouse abatement. It's just going to be me sitting here answering questions like this with the chat. We may have a little bit of this or a little bit of this in there, but it's basically going to be just me sitting here talking to you guys about what's going on in the world, talking about the news and so on and so forth. It's just going to be a chat like this. And that's what we're going to do on Kick. We're not going to be streaming movies. We might do a news broadcast or so over there. I don't know. We'll have to see what people think of it. We'll test the waters, and we'll see what you guys think of Kick. And if we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't. And we'll figure out one way or another to whether or not that's something that we want to do. Also, we're going to continue to broadcast here to see if this is something we want to do. We're going to see if YouTube does any stupid shit. Hold on, let me see what this is. All right, so some of you actually already have Kick. That's a good thing. So that's where we're going to be, is in doing some of our broadcasting over there. All right, yeah, I appreciate you pinning that. It won't let me for some reason. I don't know what's going on with the thing. I didn't want to do it. There we go. All right, appreciate you pinning that. Also, everybody, if you see a link pinned at the top of your chat there, there's 40 of you over there. You need to go to that link and subscribe there, because that's where we're going to be broadcasting. What you're seeing, if there's a link at the top of your chat, you are on the simulcast. If there's a link at the top of the chat, you're on the channel that we're going to discontinue using. So the reason that we're simulcasting is we want to give everybody the channel we're going to use, which doesn't have the link at the top of the chat, and the channel that we're going to retire or put into reserve service is the channel with the link at the top of the chat. So if you are watching a channel that has the link at the top of the chat, or let me do it this way, if you see this, you need to go to the link at the top of the chat. Okay, wow, I can't believe it. I'm the #1 contributor in that chat. Interesting how that happens. Yeah, very interesting up here too, as far as watching what's going on in ZAPAD. Still 41 of you over there, 42 of you over there. Go to the link. That's right, Unknown Comic, because you're on the right channel. Hey, thank you, 302. That's our job, is to keep it real. Real news, real time, no BS. It's not like the other news broadcasters.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
So let's see here. We're going to continue to try to bring it to you here in real time. A lot going on, folks. There is really a lot going on. I mean, you can look right here and see all of the surveillance flights that are up and around here today. A lot of flights coming out of Belarus. Military's hot and heavy over there. And again, a lot of surveillance flights up here. We've got military bases that are built up here, military bases up and down through here, lots of military bases here. And of course, they're keeping a close eye on Brest. This is where we've been seeing a lot of drone flights coming out of Brest. How do we know they're coming out of Brest? Because we told you they were going to be coming out of Brest. In fact, we showed you where they were going to be coming out of Brest. They came out of this airstrip right here. This is where they launched them from. Yeah, we're thinking about starting Kick streaming. Kick has offered us $15 to $150 an hour to do a chat on their platform. So we're thinking about doing that. I was thinking about doing some other stuff over there, but I'm just going to do the chat. And that way we can sit around and talk about the news and cover the news in real time. And they'll pay us to do it, which is much better than what Rumble is currently trying to do to us, or what YouTube has done to us for the last, actually, I said 5 years earlier, I was wrong. It's been 7 years since we've been monetized on YouTube. Let me check something here. All right, so let's see here. Interesting. All right, well, we're going to keep going here. We're going to jump back over to Rumble here in a little bit. We're just trying to notify everybody that if you want to watch our broadcasts, let me go here. I'm going to put it in the comments of the other stream. Or actually, no, I got to go over there. Oh, Mary, I'm good. We're going to be on the other channel there, so you need to go to the link at the top of the chat, Mary. Go over there. That's where we're going to be streaming, not here. So let me leave a comment here. Well, let me leave a comment. All right, appreciate the update on the E3s. That's good to know. This is the channel you need to subscribe to. I'll put it in the chat once again for you there. And if somebody could leave that as a comment that in the comment section, that would be good. Over there. Got 185 of you here. Yeah, appreciate it. So you're on the right channel. There's 209 of you in here. But YouTube wants to only say 188. That's interesting. Average view duration is 7 minutes and 19 seconds. That's well above average for YouTube or ScrewTube, but I doubt that they will promote us for that. Find that interesting. So let's go over to the other one. Yeah, the other one still has 39 people over there that need to go over. Poll Dog, go to the link right above your content there, buddy, in the chat. Go to that link and watch over there. We're going to be discontinuing this YouTube channel, and we don't want you to miss out on anything. So please head over there if you would. That's where the action's going to be. So we're going to continue to monitor everything. As you can see up here, they are keeping a close eye on Brest. Again, Brest is this training area here that's full of troops. We've been watching them move in. We got troops here. We've got troops up here in Haradna, right here. Come on. All through this part of town right here. And how do we know that the government knows that? Well, they watch our channel, and you can see all of the 3D loops they're doing here, keeping an eye on that. And then we've talked to you many, many times about all of the troops that are east of Vilnius. Well, how do we know that? Well, look at where they're looking. And all of the troops up here that we've talked about. Well, look where they're looking. All of the troops up here that we have talked about. Well, again, look where they are looking. Okay, you know, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and Helen Keller can see where they're looking when you have flight patterns like this. So, that's what's going on here, folks. There's a lot of this. And again, we're keeping track of what's going on down in the Caribbean. That's ship traffic. This is aircraft traffic. This is the surveillance flights from yesterday. And all of this is also going to be available over on Rumble. We're going to be going over there here temporarily or momentarily. So, again, if you want the latest in the news, go to Rumble. That's where we're going to be. And you can watch everything that's going on over there. You can go over there and subscribe. It's ad-free. It's a platform that allows us to tell you the truth all the time. We don't have to worry about what we say. We don't have to worry about what we show you. The only thing we got to do is worry about telling you the truth, which is what our job is. So hopefully you'll be over there. What was the diplomatic flight? Can you tell us that? All right, guys, I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Stand by. All right, we're back. Let's see what we got here. Yep, thank you, Hayes. Well, we dropped down to 150. I see how that is. I step out for just a minute to let my dog go pee, and 20 people leave. I see how they are. Yeah, Rumble does have some issues, but at least they pay us, which is always a good thing. See if somebody can donate some money here. There's see if somebody can give me $1. Let's see if it even works. How do they do it here? What? You're a good dog. You are. Mm-hmm. Oh, see, they won't even let us do that yet. I don't know how that works. I wonder why that is. They won't let us do that. No option to donate. That's not very good. All right, well, we'll have to work on that. Wonder why that is. All right, folks, well, we're going to go back over to Rumble while I work on this here. Let me see if I can do it while I'm here. Interesting. Well, We're not going to stop the sound because the sound is actually jamming over the radio system that we're monitoring. If we stop the sound, we won't hear the emergency action messages. Also, you guys that are over there, y'all need to go to the link that is at the top of the chat. There's 40 of you over there. So you guys are in the wrong chat. So ALS, Nino, Joanne's JPR, SMA, Southwest Germany. You guys need to go to the link at the top of the chat, go to the other stream. Now, if I go back here, all right, is there a super chat? There we go. It's there now. All right, so yeah, it's there now, so we can get super chats and we can do memberships here, so we don't have to deal with all of the trolls, and we can monitor what's going on. Yeah, JoJo, we're only going to be here for when there's breaking news, and we can bring it to you, the breaking news, what's going on, so on and so forth. The main news coverage, the main channel is going to continue to be Rumble. And then we're talking about doing a show on Kick, where it's just me and my ugly mug talking to you guys about the news of the day. They're offering to pay $15 to $150 an hour for me to do that. So we're going to try that out and see if it's something we want to do. All right, there we go. It works. Okay, so for all of you who have ever wanted to donate money or thank me for all of the years of telling you the truth, now is your opportunity. She hit the mute button, sorry. This is Luna. Come on. Put your paws up there. There you go. All right, yep, thank you. And actually, I can move that chat from over here. Let me pop out that. I also want to do timestamps, and I want to do moderator activity. And I want to pop it out, which means I can bring it over here. Like I said, it needs to be narrowed up like that. Yes, Luna's about a year. What are you doing? Are you going to be on the air? Speak into the microphone. It's right here. Actually, this is the quietest dog I've ever had. Actually, this is my wife's dog, but she spends a lot of time with me. All right, get down. There you go, good girl. I don't know what I can do here with. Let's see if I can do anything with this. Thank you. This is our new KLW World News shirts. So yeah, these are for staff. Not sure what you mean by 90% lungs there, Black Blade. Oh, yours is 90% lungs. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Harbor. Appreciate it. It's good to know this is working. So for all of you who have always wanted to donate, we greatly appreciate it. Seven years of not being monetized on this platform. So it is a wonderful thing. So if you guys got questions for me, put them into the chat. Thank you, Brian. I'm happy about that for the first time in 7 years. IAM1 494 on Romanian Black Sea area looping. More than likely, that is the Italianos, and it is. They're down there pulling duty for Brio since Brio is up here. Swede's been busy here today too, you can see that. What I want to do is there's Swedes. There's the Swedes. P8. Oh, wow. We got a P8 all the way over there. Look at that shit. Uh-huh. Yes, Poland was attacked. If you watch the video of the house that was hit, it blew the whole roof off. It blew the ends of the house out. It damaged the inside of the house. And the explosion threw rocks and busted out windows all the way around the house. So, yes, a house in Poland was hit by a Russian drone. Well, what they were doing is this was a probing attack. This is to see what they can get away with. What you have to understand is the way the Russians fight is they push everywhere, and anywhere that it's soft, they keep pushing. And the reason they do that is because Russians don't know how to fight. That's why they lost so many people during World War II. That's why they're getting their asses kicked in Ukraine. Yes, China and Russia are in Venezuela, but Iran is in Venezuela, Hamas is in Venezuela, Mexico is in Venezuela. So there's Mexicans, Hamas, the Iranians, the Russians, and the Chinese. There's a lot of people in Venezuela. Yeah, that's it. Look, when you go into, so Russia worked for years to destroy the Ukrainian military before they went into Ukraine. What people don't realize is that Russia decided to go into Ukraine in 2012. They had already planned on going into Ukraine in 2012. So they started tearing down the Ukrainian military. They got people in place that supported Russia and didn't support Ukraine. They were traitors. And so they didn't maintain the vehicles. They didn't pay worth a shit. The military had fallen to very, very few troops. They were only paying soldiers $150 a month. Imagine being a full-time soldier in the U.S. Army, and the U.S. Army is only paying you $150 a month. How many people would be fighting for the U.S. Army if they only made $150 a month? So that's what they were doing to the Ukrainians. They were starving them to death. They weren't maintaining the equipment. They were selling stuff off. And so they were thinking, hey, Quest, who are you asking? How old? How old do you think I am? Anyway, the Russians were destroying the Ukrainian military. And in destroying the Ukrainian military, they were thinking it was going to be easy for the Russians to come in. They also thought that they were going to roll over like they did in Crimea. But the problem is that in Crimea, when that happened in 2014, the Ukrainians didn't have any laws to be able to fight against the uprising. And also, when they came in 2022, they didn't come in as little green men. They came in as the Russian military. The Ukrainians are gaining territory because when the Russians first invaded in February 2022, they had 30% of Ukraine, and today they only hold about 17% of Ukraine. In fact, the Russians have lost more men in this war than the Americans lost in Vietnam, Afghanistan, and in World War II. What difference does it make? Any comment on Charlie Kirk? we're not discussing Charlie Kirk. He's dead. He was assassinated by a guy who had a trans as a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. I don't think the Civil War is close, and if there is a Civil War, it'll be over with very shortly because you've got blue-haired people and then you got rednecks with guns. Blue-haired people don't do real well against rednecks with guns. What was the last war Russia actually won for themselves? I wasn't aware that Russia had won a war by themselves. Yeah, Angry Wrecker, I understand that. I haven't seen a third boat yet. Many trains have been hit. Yeah, YouTube sent me an email this morning and said they were going to monetize me. I couldn't believe it. So here I am. So K&D, now's your opportunity to send me that $1,000 check you've been talking about all this time. No, Chuck, you're on the wrong channel, buddy. Chuck Douche, you need to go to the link at the top of the chat and sign up over there. Pennywise, they're going to be crazy, but you need to go over to the link at the top of the chat. You're on the wrong channel. Chuck and Deuces, go to the link at the top of the channel, buddy. There's 57 of y'all over there. Y'all are on the wrong chat. All right, let's see what else we got here. Well, thank you, Chuck and Deuces. Appreciate that. No, you can't call it the Diesel D's. You can't call that a victory for Russia because they didn't take all of Georgia. They only took a small part of Georgia. They took enough of Georgia to prevent Georgia from joining NATO. That's what they did over there. Yeah, they were just trying to tie them up to keep them from joining NATO. That's what the deal was with Russia going into Georgia. So let's see here. I can't believe it. All right, 185, 148 watching. Welcome aboard. We are paying close attention to what's going on over there. Let me see if I can see anything else over here. What Mr. Moore sent me. Trump finally called Russia the aggressor. Oh my God. Who can believe that? This post is unavailable. Sorry, Victor, man, they are not a good source. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Dan Bongino.
There appear to have been multiple warning signs. You just laid out some of them. There were people in his network, friends and family, who had stated that he had become more political, that he had become, at some parts, I believe some of his coworkers had stated that he had kind of detached himself when the topic of politics came up and walked away from them. Family members said he'd become more political, leading us to believe that this ideology had infected him and had taken over. And he was just intent, it appears, from the data we've accumulated and the channel and that note, which we have some evidence may have existed before based on the communications in that channel, that his target was obviously going to be Charlie and that people knew in advance. The question is, again, I just want to go back to what you had asked before. Did they know? Were they sure of this? Or did they hear this and just write it off? That's what we're going to have to find out. And that's what we're investigating now. Bill, this investigation is just begun. This isn't even the beginning of the beginning. You know, yes, we have a subject in custody. You know, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in our constitutional republic. However, this is not done by any stretch. Our men and women out there in the Bureau have worked tirelessly all week, and I just got back to D.C. Last night. And, Cash and I were out there on the scene. We walked the scene. We went through every single component of it. We saw the evidence up close and personal. And we went out there to be able to make command decisions with our team on the ground. And I think the process, although not perfect, of course, I think the process went pretty well considering we got him in 33 hours.
Okay, yeah.
There
resources the FBI had. We flexed all resources the FBI had and surged multiple air assets as soon as this shooting occurred. We were cycling in agents, evidence response technicians, hostage rescue technicians, and special operators in and out of Utah, cycling evidence back and forth on these FBI planes as soon as we could so that there was no delay. And what we did, once I got there, along with the deputy on the ground around 5 p.m. local on September 11th, was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded. and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. And having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources to happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
There you go. Trump says Venezuela is sending drugs, gang members as tensions rise. It's interesting.
Are you going with us? Huh? Are you going with us, Maggie?
Not with you.
Good.
Just one more on Venezuela. The president of Venezuela called the strike on the boat illegal. Are you concerned that Maduro might escalate something?
No, what's illegal are the drugs that were on the boat and the drugs that are being sent into our country and the fact that 300 million people died last year from drugs. That's what's illegal.
Do you think he's not telling the truth when he's...
Are you going with us? Huh? Are you going?
Демонструють.
Різна модель демонструє по
Спасибо за приглашение.
Очень рад, что вы отозвались на наше приглашение.
Also, U.S. military officers are in Belarus to observe joint Russian-Belarusian ZAPAD 2025 war games. They look to be majors. I'm sure the Russians were surprised when the Americans showed up to watch it. The interesting part is that they're only watching one small part of the exercise. They're not watching the entire event. In fact, a lot of the ZAPAD 25 is not even known to the public. The Belarusians and the Russians didn't announce that they were doing the Iskander missile launches or the Iskander drills in Kaliningrad. They didn't announce that they are doing YARS training northeast of Minsk. They didn't announce that they were doing the tank training south of Minsk. They didn't announce that they were going to be firing drones into Poland. There's a lot of things that the Russians and the Belarusians did not announce in regards to ZAPAD 2025. See what else we got here for you real quick like.
Minister Radosław Sikorski.
Yeah, also, 2 men were arrested after they put a bomb underneath of a Fox News vehicle in Utah. I repeat, 2 men have been arrested after they put a bomb under a Fox News vehicle in Utah. They tried to detonate it, and it fizzled rather than went boom, and they got busted. But this is the kind of stuff we're dealing with. Even when I go out with the KLW World News van, you got to worry about these people. This is why I always pack, because I'm not fucking around. You try to put a bomb under my van, I'm going to blow your fucking head off. That's just the way it's going to work. You know, I would rather do time than be dead. So this is the kind of concerns that you got to have when you're out there. People putting bombs underneath other people's vehicles. So you got to be careful. Yeah. Yeah, they put a bomb underneath of the vehicle. Let me see if I can find any more on that. I was kind of in shock on that. Please stand by. So, let's get rid of that. Let's go here. Yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
As well at home. Bring this as breaking news to folks as well at home that there was a bomb threat that was called in there to the Democratic National Headquarters in Washington, D.C. We're getting this live update there from
And there's breaking news coming in. 2 men were arrested after an explosive device was found under a news media vehicle in Salt Lake City on Friday.
Now, the authorities do say these 2 men could face terrorism-related and weapons charges. The authorities also added that the 2 men were arrested on suspicion of placing an incendiary device under a vehicle related to Fox News local subsidiary.
And these developments are coming in from the U.S. in Utah. Salt Lake City officials said that the explosive had been lit but failed to function. They have been identified as Adib Ahmed Nasir and Adil Ahmed Nasir. As per reports, Adib Ahmed is from Pakistan. On Friday, police and fire department bomb squads responded when a suspicious device was found under the vehicle parked near an occupied building. According to court records, investigators determined the bomb had been lit but failed to function, as Jodhsa just mentioned.
Now, the FBI has identified 2 suspects that we just mentioned and served a search warrant at a home in Mathna, west of the city's downtown. 2 men aged 58 and 31 were arrested and can face charges related to weapons possession and threats of terrorism, ABC affiliate KTVX reported on Sunday.
There was no information about a possible motive behind this act, and the relationship between the 2 suspects wasn't immediately clear. News media have descended on Salt Lake City following last week's assassination of Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk. That's the latest we have for you at this point. These are developments coming in from the U.S. in Utah, Salt Lake City. 2 men have been arrested after an explosive device was found under a news media vehicle in Salt Lake City. This happened on Friday. News has come out now. And they attempted to blow up the vehicle, but it did not function.
Yeah, it did ignite. Somehow it failed to function, and they have been identified as Adil Ahmed Naseed and Adil Ahmed Naseed. These, according to reports, Adib Ahmed Naseed is from Pakistan. Now, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tirani sent us this report. Let's listen in.
2 men ages 58 and 31 were arrested in Magna, Utah after authorities say they planted an incendiary device under a news media van parked near an occupied building. The device had been lit but failed to detonate, averting a worse disaster. A search of their home turned up explosives, bomb-making materials, firearms, illegal drugs, and even fake weapons of mass destruction. One of the men faces federal charges including making terrorist threats and unlawful weapons possession. The other is also in custody, though charges for him are still being determined. The case has drawn intense attention because of its proximity geographically and in timing to the college event where Charlie Kirk, the conservative commentator, was assassinated. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION, World is One.
Welcome back, America. We're here with our friend, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. He's not only a doctor, medical doctor, but he served in the United States Navy as a commander for several years as well. He's a patriotic American citizen. He's the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. People who watch this program are well familiar with you, Zuhdi, and Muslim Reform Movement co-founder. And you're running for the nomination of the Republican Party in Arizona Congressional District, District 4. Man, I wish you all the best. We can sure as hell use you in the House of Representatives, Zuhdi Jasser. But before we talk more about that, Qatar, there seems to be a kerfuffle about the fact that Israel decided to target the leaders of Hamas. Hamas, which, I mean, the leaders of Hamas are Muslim Brotherhood. That's where Hamas comes from. These are true bloodthirsty terrorists who want to destroy the United States, who want to destroy Israel and the Jews, who want to destroy Muslims who don't fall in line and agree with them. They have blood on their hands, American blood on their hands, Israeli blood on their hands. They have Arabic and Muslim blood on their hands. And there's Qatar that's been funding them for decades. And there's Qatar that's giving safe haven to their leaders. And Israel says after they were attacked in Jerusalem, all right, that's enough. That's enough. You don't get immunity because you're in Qatar, that Qatar has taken care of you. What do you think? I mean, what is this idea they have sovereignty in Qatar? Pakistan had sovereignty when we took out bin Laden. I mean, Afghanistan had sovereignty when we took out al-Qaeda. What is this nonsense?
You're 100% right, Mark. And, you know, listen, as I've testified to Congress and I've been saying, and you and I have been saying for decades, is if you want to understand Qatar, it's about the Muslim Brotherhood. And many of us have been supporting legislation right now before Congress about the need to designate the Muslim Brotherhood a terror organization. So it doesn't make sense in foreign and domestic policy to, on the one hand, all of us and conservatives, I've testified to Governor, now Governor was Congressman DeSantis, Senator Cruz's committee, and now there's a legislation pretty much all Republicans and some Democrats are supporting about designating the Muslim Brotherhood a terror organization, and yet their home base globally is Qatar. And yet the Qatari regime has on speed dial every radical Islamist group in the planet, the Taliban, ISIS, and others. All of a sudden, when they want to have peace talks, it happens to be in Qatar. Iran, while they were fueling Hamas for October 7, Qatar's economy is inherently dependent on Iranian natural gas fields and others. So they are in bed with Iran. They are not, I don't know how they meet the definition of being an ally. The ideology, if you look at Al Jazeera, and the battle I'm fighting, the ideology of radical Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood, is Al Jazeera state television, which feeds 60 million Arabs around the planet. feeds Holocaust denial, feeds a lot of anti-Semitism, anti-Westernism, and anti-Americanism of this red-green Marxo-jihadist axis that they work with China with. So they're not an ally. God bless Israel for trying to knock out the Al Jazeera English, by the way, Mark, right after, as the bombing was happening from Israel, had Hamas survives on their chyron all day on Al Jazeera English last week. I mean, it's just absurd.
Isn't part of the problem, Zuhdi Jasser, that the American people don't have access to this information about Qatar in English? And so there are sites like memory.org that actually go in and translate what Al Jazeera is saying. Al Jazeera, America, is owned and operated by state-run Qatar. Every syllable that comes out of Al Jazeera has to be approved by the royal family and its designees. And Al Jazeera has been pushing anti-Westernism, anti-Americanism, anti-Semitism, anti-Christianism, and celebrated October 7th. So basically, Zuhdi Jasser, you understand the language and what's going on here. Isn't Qatar playing both sides? On the one hand, it presents itself in the United States and in the West as very westernized. It buys up sporting teams and businesses and politicians and so forth and so on. But behind the scenes, it is the main funder of terrorism, including the Muslim Brotherhood, the mother of all terrorist operations throughout the world. Yes or no? Am I right about that?
100%. You're right. The funding is just insane in that the only greater funder of universities and other internal domestic thought think tanks and other places is China. So Qatar's billions, China's a little more. This is what's radicalizing our youth and the red-green axis, the Marxo-jihadism that creates the Mamdanis, the Ilhan Omars of the current far-left farm team. They're not allies. They don't believe in Western liberty, individual rights, free markets, and we have to understand that.
You know who understood this? Our friend Charlie Kirk, who was a 100% American patriot, 100% supporter of Israel, 100% opponent of the jihadis and the Islamists. We can learn a lot from Charlie Kirk.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and more.
What are you talking about? Rest in peace, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's not dead. Where do you get that? Well, it looks like the trolls are back, but that's okay. We'll ban them just like we did before. The difference now is we get paid to ban them. The other great part is we can do live member-only streams, and that's what we're going to do. If you want to be able to chat, you'll have to be a member. And that way all the trolls will have to pay if they want to come in and say stupid shit. Gotta love it. We're going to figure out how to do that. See, this one's the one. Yeah, gotta love it. Absolutely gotta love it. Yeah, Theory. So this is the one we're going to be on, is the one you're on now. So everybody needs to be on this one. The trolls that are on the other one, they need to, or everybody over there needs to come over to this one. If you have a link at the top of the chat from KIW World News, you need to click on that and go over to the other channel. Because the channel you're watching is the channel we're going to discontinue using. Everybody needs to be on the primary channel. There you go, Quest. Yep, glad you're a member over there. What we're trying to do is to diversify here. Because the folks at Rumble are providing some issues here that they shouldn't be.
A disturbing and unusual incident unfolded this week in the quiet suburb of Magna, Utah, just west of Salt Lake City. Authorities arrested 2 men after an incendiary device was discovered placed under a news vehicle belonging to Fox 13 News. The device had been lit but, remarkably, failed to detonate, narrowly avoiding what could have been a devastating explosion near an occupied building. Law enforcement quickly responded, evacuating surrounding homes and deploying bomb squads to secure the area. The suspects, identified as 58-year-old Adib Nasir and 31-year-old Adil Justice Ahmed Nasir, were taken into custody shortly after the device was discovered. While the nature of their relationship hasn't been confirmed, both are believed to be connected to the planning and execution of the act. A subsequent search of their residence revealed a troubling cache of materials: explosives, bomb-making components, firearms, narcotics, and even hoax weapons of mass destruction. Fake devices designed to appear threatening or capable of causing widespread harm. Officials have yet to release a motive, and it remains unclear whether the news station was targeted because of its reporting, an individual employee, or for unrelated reasons. However, the fact that a journalist's vehicle was deliberately targeted has alarmed press freedom advocates and law enforcement alike. In a public statement, Fox 13 confirmed the vehicle belonged to one of their reporters and expressed gratitude that no one was injured. The station is cooperating fully with investigators. Federal agencies, including the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, have joined the investigation. Charges have not yet been finalized, but prosecutors are considering counts related to possession of explosive devices, illegal weapons, narcotics, and threats of terrorism. Officials say this was not a random act of mischief. It was an attempted attack that endangered lives and targeted the press, raising serious concerns about public safety and freedom of the press. As the investigation continues, law enforcement is urging the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity. For now, the community is left shaken but grateful. Grateful that the device didn't go off, and that those responsible are now in custody. The message from officials is clear. Journalism is not a crime, but targeting journalists might just be.
All right, gotta love it. Smoking trolls already. Fact is,
You can't handle the truth.
Thank you for coming. I'll see you in hell.
all right, let's see what else we got here.
Speak with the Chinese. We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal, but we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok.
When do we get to see the framework?
Mr. Secretary, this morning you said that there were some aggressive asks from the Chinese side on TikTok. Did you have to make any concessions to get to a deal? And if so, what were those concessions?
We had very good discussions. We preferred to keep the discussions on TikTok. We will be holding trade negotiations in about a month, again, at a different location. But we talked about many things that we might do in the future.
Mr. Secretary, will you reach a trade deal with China before the APEC meeting at the end of October?
That remains to be seen. And it remains to be seen whether we will meet with them before the APEC meeting or after.
What happens with the algorithm to TikTok? Does it become U.S. owned, or who will own it?
We're not going to talk about the commercial terms of the deal. It's between two private parties, but the commercial terms have been agreed upon. We discussed a wide range of issues. I'll let Ambassador Greer.
I would say the thing that is notable about this, and it may not seem, this is like touching my chest, thanks. The thing that is notable about this is the great and deep respect that we have for each other. It's no secret that there are serious issues on trade, economics, national security between the United States and China. And I think we saw in the last administration, talks had essentially ceased. There were no channels. I mean, the fact is we could take a very challenging and prickly issue like the TikTok divestment and come to an agreement really within, a couple of days. Obviously, there were months and weeks before this, but to be able to come, sit down, quickly identify the issues, narrow them down to a very granular spot, and be able to come to a conclusion subject to the leader's approval, I mean, that is remarkable. I mean, U.S.-China negotiations tend to go on for months and years without results, but I have to say, too, that President Trump played a role in this. We had a call with him last night. We had specific guidance from him. We shared it with our Chinese counterparts. And without his leadership and the leverage he provides, we would not have been able to conclude the deal today.
Yes, as Ambassador Greer said, that the getting to this framework was made possible by President Trump and the high regard that President Trump has for Party Chair Xi. So when the leaders have mutual respect, then the delegations have mutual respect. And as Ambassador Greer said, we were in substantial contact with President Trump last night and then again today.
Mr. President, will there be another round of trade talks?
Of course there will.
In November?
We haven't set a date yet, but I would imagine in the coming weeks.
Did you talk about Huawei with the Spanish government, about our contracts with Huawei, the Chinese company, that you are not happy about?
We had breakfast with the Spanish government today, and we talked about a variety of economic issues.
Does that include Huawei?
Is there any plan of the highest level meeting from President Xi and Trump in the near future?
I don't think either the ambassador or myself want to get out ahead of the leaders. They'll be speaking on Friday, so that's for them to decide.
Did the topic of export controls come up?
The topic of export controls did come up. Obviously, we always raise with respect to things like rare earth minerals and magnets. The Chinese, just like they have for many years, they always raise export controls, sanctions, tariffs, the whole list. We've essentially deferred discussion of those kinds of things to another time. We were very focused on TikTok and making sure that it was a deal that is fair for the Chinese and completely respects U.S. national security concerns. And that's the deal we reached. And of course, we want to ensure that the Chinese have a fair investment environment and completely respects U.S. national security comes first.
Did you discuss any more details about the meeting with Spanish counterparts? Huawei or trade or any other specific aspects you can talk about?
It was a very broad ranging discussion. We gave them an update on the state of the U.S. economy, which is going very well thanks to President Trump. We received their views on trade, the European economy, and how the Spanish Spain-U.S. relationship can be strengthened. We were told that Spain is opening a trade office in Houston, Texas, which we were very happy about.
And we talked about the progress of the U.S.-EU trade deal, which brings great stability to both of our countries. We talked about Spain and how the United States has a trade surplus with Spain, which is a hallmark of a good, healthy trade relationship. So we commended them for that.
Spain is building ever stronger economic ties with China. What risks do you see in that relationship with Spain?
Well, any kind of agreement that we have with another country, or in this case with the European Commission, we want to make sure that the benefits of that agreement are between the U.S. And the EU and Spain as part of that. So obviously, anytime we have a deal, we want to make sure that other countries aren't used as a jumping off point for, Chinese trade, for example. If we're going to trade with China, which we will, want to have a deal with China. We're going to have a deal with the EU about EU-US trade. We want it to cover US-EU trade.
Any more reasons?
Did you also discuss about purchasing Russian oil? So U.S. requested China stop to purchase Russian oil.
It was mentioned, but not a centerpiece of the discussion.
Anti-money laundering was on the agenda. Do you anticipate any lowering of the fentanyl tariffs or anything on that matter?
Well, anti-money laundering is different than the importation of precursor drugs. The money laundering is the result of fentanyl sales, and both the People's Republic of China's government and the U.S. government and citizens are hurt by the money laundering. The money laundering cadres are actually the offspring of groups that are evading China's capital controls, and they have now morphed into money laundering for the Mexican drug cartels. So we discussed ways that we could work together, and the Chinese delegation was very keen to work with us. It was an area of extreme agreement.
And what about the
Sorry.
Well, of course that came up. There was some discussion on where we stand. As you know, right now we have a 90-day pause in effect with respect to U.S. tariffs on China and Chinese severe controls on rare earth minerals. We have been renewing that pause periodically. The current pause is set to expire November 10th. We're certainly open to considering further action there. If the talks continue in a positive direction, the United States is receiving rare earths much better than they were before. However, there's still work to be done there.
Did you talk about NVIDIA?
We discussed the poor timing of the NVIDIA investigation the day of these talks.
How are the Fed interviews going?
I think we'll wait till we're back on U.S. soil to talk about that. One thing I will say is that that I'm respecting the Fed's quiet period, which they have before every meeting, and so it's convenient for me to be here. So no current Fed officials are interviewed during the Fed quiet period.
Any more details about the TikTok deal that you'd like to share with us?
I think we'll wait for it to be confirmed by the leaders.
Can we say we have got another extension with TikTok with Chinese companies? What's another extension?
September 17th.
But on that point, we believe we have an agreement. It's just subject to the leaders' approval. So if you need to extend it by some period of time just to get it signed, etc., that's one thing. But we're not going to be in the business of having repetitive extensions. We have a deal. If there's some extension needed just to get it signed, etc., that's one thing. But there's just no ongoing extensions.
It would not have been extended without a framework.
Right. Any other international politics issues we have to talk about this time? About Ukraine, Russia?
We tried. We had a full menu for 2 days of talks.
Thank you very much. Can you summarize the talk with some key words this time?
Respectful, wide-ranging, in-depth. Any more words from you, Ambassador?
Productive.
I think that's just about it for time, guys. We can take one last question if anybody has one.
Do we have a time frame for TikTok? Do we know the next 2 hours? Might we get some
kind of release any more details? Will it remain on the Chinese, or is it going to switch to U.S. ownership? Any more details you can give us there?
Well, I think the framework is for it to switch to U.S.-controlled ownership. But again, I'm not going to get ahead of the leaders' call on Friday. We have a framework. They'll have to confirm the deal.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. If you have any additional questions, please send them to the U.S. Embassy Madrid. Thanks very much.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating. We can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female, and that he is cooperating with authorities.
A Fox News alert. Charlie Kirk's murder suspect refusing to cooperate as the FBI discovers new details about his...
What? His tranny boyfriend turned him in and is cooperating with law enforcement?
His dark digital footprint before he makes his first court appearance tomorrow.
All right, FBI Director Kash Patel joins us now. I can't imagine, Mr. Director, how busy you've been, especially Charlie Kirk isn't just a impactful person, he's your friend. So I understand that. But having said that, people are looking to you to find out is how big this investigation is going to be. Can you tell us the latest?
Absolutely. It's so good to be with you. And you're right. My personal feelings and relationship with Charlie, I have a job to do for the American people, and I'm committed to do it for President Trump. We flexed all resources the FBI had and surged multiple air assets as soon as this shooting occurred. We were cycling in agents, evidence response technicians, hostage rescue technicians, and special operators in and out of Utah, cycling evidence back and forth on these FBI planes as soon as we could so that there was no delay. And what we did once I got there, along with the deputy on the ground around 5 p.m. local on September 11th, was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded. And the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. And
I wonder if it's one of the towels that the shooter's tranny boyfriend used.
Having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources. To happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
So, Mr. Director, that is vital. That is breaking news and vital information, because now you have the casings for the gun. So you connect the gun. Now you got his DNA on it. That's huge. But I also want to get to another part.
I just got to interrupt. Sorry, I just got to interrupt. We have the DNA on the screwdriver that was found on the rooftop and the towel that the firearm was wrapped in. The firearm itself, this is a great point. Thanks for raising it.
Yeah, no problem.
That is being processed by ATF laboratories in Maryland, and I believe they'll speak to that at a later date when their process is incomplete. But I just want...
Screwdriver, isn't that what the shooter does to his trans girlfriend? Boyfriend? What do you call that? I guess, well, it's not a girl, so the guy has a girlfriend. Screwdriver, yeah. Hopefully they weren't doing that on the roof beforehand. That would be nasty.
want to let you know the FBI handled the screwdriver and the towel found on
That
scene.
is important clarification, Mr. Director. I want to get to the 20 members in that group chat. Have they been brought in from questioning? And the group chat that from our reporting that we're hearing is from after the assassination. Do you have the messages from before the assassination?
Well, let me take a step back and tell you what we were doing while we were there and how we were led to the suspect so that this all fits into the puzzle. We, as soon as we learned of the shooting, we were able to, I think Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23 local time on September 10th. By 12:39 p.m. local time, FBI assets were on scene securing the scene. We then launched at 10 a.m. the next day the first images of the suspect. Myself and the deputy arrived at 5 p.m. local time on September 11th. And then what we did was decided to have a press conference at 8 p.m. local, where we issued for the first time FBI obtained video footage that we seized from the security camera surveillance system and new images, enhanced images. I decided to release immediately to the public because we were working with the public and the media to find this killer. Shortly after that 8 p.m. release, at 10 p.m. local time, the suspect was in custody. Why? Because the father informed us, pursuant to an interview of him, that he looked at the video that we released that evening and the enhanced photos and identified the suspect. That's how fast the FBI was working to put out information in real time. And for a comparative sake, the Boston bombing, the FBI didn't release images for 3 days. We know we didn't have 3 days. I made an executive decision on an investigative and operational need, and it turned out to be the right move because the men and women of the FBI said that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, we knew when that video was released, we said it here on Fox and Friends, someone's going to recognize this person because someone was friends with him, his family, someone knows this guy. Those images were crystal clear. Tell us what you know about his background, his childhood, his father who had to turn him in.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore the last question. Going back to the group chats real quick, there's more than 20 individuals. But this is a great point. I want to lay out how this works. People think we can just get in these group chats and immediately find out who's in them. We, the FBI, are the investigatory body supporting multiple prosecutions and ongoing investigations. And that's another point. Our investigation at the FBI is ongoing. And there are scores of people in this Discord chat room. But we have to effectuate legal process. We have to go out there with search warrants so that if prosecutors want to later use this evidence, it's not tainted by being illegally obtained. We, the FBI, are running the investigation pointedly on the Discord chat group. There are scores of individuals that are going to be spoken to. There are also lots of family members and friends that have already been spoken to. And one more point on forensics. We were able to obtain in record time the text message chain between the suspect and his live-in partner, as well as other critical cellular information from our...
Don't you mean his tranny boyfriend?
Our CAS team that analyzes cell phone data towers in the area to pinpoint the locations of the suspect and other individuals he was speaking with. This is critical information that the FBI processed and got to prosecutors so they can lawfully use it in a court of law. And our investigation, our interviews continue, but we've learned some shocking things when we spoke to his family and friends as well.
Do you want to share them? Those shocking things?
Sure. And my job as FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions. But I believe in this instance of such public importance, the public has a right to know. And I've told you I'm committed to transparency, and that's what I'm doing here today.
Why didn't that person that he was talking to, why didn't that person say something?
All right, just so you guys know, we are back on YouTube because, well, they've offered to pay us. In addition to that, Kick has offered to pay us hourly between $15 an hour and $150 an hour. So we're going to be opening up a channel on Kick to do just chats like I'm doing right now. So where I come to you directly and, well, you guys get to see the frequency counter and the spectrum analyzer and all the other things here in the radio room. And we're going to talk about the news of the day. So it'll be kind of a chat going on there. Quite possibly, we may even do some news broadcasts over on Kick. We're going to try it. I mean, they're offering to pay us anywhere from $15 to $150 an hour. So why the hell not? Got to do something to make a living around here. Might as well do it and get the kicks out of it.
Our investigation is ongoing. That's a great question, and we don't have an answer on that just yet.
But Mr. Director, you're right. Your job is not to speak to ideology, but you do have the BAU, the Behavior Analysis Unit, that are there. And my sources, people that are within the Bureau and outside that used to be FBI, tell me that the BAU has been encouraged not to tackle the transgender issue from an ideology standpoint. Have you heard that? Are you tackling that? I know you've only been there recently, but you can't have a political slant saying we're not going to attack different political ideologies because it's going to offend someone.
You're absolutely right, and that's why me and the deputy have been quarterbacking this investigation ourselves. There is no one at the FBI that's going to politicize this investigation. There's no one at Quantico or anywhere else that is going to say we are not looking at X or Y. We are looking at the facts, and that is why we are releasing the facts in record fashion. If you go back and look at historical cases like Luigi Mangione and the Boston bombing, how long did it take the Bureau to release information to the public? We're not doing that. Those two manhunts took 5 days, and they happened in downtown major metropolises. We apprehended our suspect in 33 hours because we were transparent and open with the American public, and we're going to continue to do that. So anyone that thinks that the FBI is not on top of its game and that me and the deputy and everybody in leadership in our Salt Lake City field office in Quantico is doing anything politically, I'm not having it. And if you've heard anything else about it, they are lying to you. We're on it.
That's why it's so important that you came on, and we're thrilled you are. A couple other things. I have two quick questions. One, is it true, what the governor said yesterday, that he had a written note that you're looking into now prior to the assassination? Did he have a note? And the other one question is, the person that was texting with him about I have a shot at taking out Charlie Kirk, can that person be charged?
So I'll take those in reverse. The charging decisions are up to our great partners at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, who have been wonderful providing resources during this entire process, and we'll let them speak to any charging decisions. But we, the FBI, are investigating. As I said, our investigation is ongoing. We're interviewing dozens and dozens of suspects, subjects, witnesses, and the like, and continuing to examine forensic information, including cell phone data and DNA analyses. And once we make those findings handed over to our partners, as we're doing in real time, they'll make those decisions. And I'm sorry, Brian, I forgot your other question.
You had a written note. Did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say? If you could.
So what I'm able to say. I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, did exist, And we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
So, Mr. Director, I'm curious, and there has been some criticism, so I appreciate you coming on our program and discussing it with our audience. Can you tell us what was happening on the ground? Apparently, according to sources, you weren't getting some information, you requested photos, and you were being stonewalled. Now, I think it's important to note, there's always some sort of tension between local cops on the ground and the feds. They want to handle their own investigation, but of course, with an investigation of this magnitude, you have to step in, you have the resources. But can you explain, was it the local field office, was it the state police? What was going on?
So the local authorities have been fantastic. Okay. The local sheriff, the state PD have been wonderful. And any investigation, as you hinted to, of this magnitude has so many people in it because I'd made the decision to search so many resources. And to get the information up to me was of the utmost priority. So I worked with my team to say, hey, there's not going to be any delays. We're not going to do it the way we normally do things. So the only thing that people were doing at the FBI was how they knew how to do things. I had to expedite that process. That's my job. That's what I thought this case deserved. And that's what this case was rightly calling for. So I made the tough calls. But I wasn't critical of anyone in particular. I just said, we got to move faster. And that was my call to make. And if there's any criticism there, you can put it right here.
Who wasn't giving you information, Director? Who wasn't giving you the photos when you requested them quickly and it didn't make it to you? Who denied that order?
It's not a denial of the order. Just to clarify, I'm glad we're talking about this. The photos were produced. They just weren't produced in a timely fashion that I felt was appropriate for an investigation of this magnitude. So I came in and I accelerated that process.
So in the 24 hours after, when we were still looking for the guy, I know you posted that we got him. And that ended up not being true. You took some incoming because of that. What led to you posting that? Why did you feel so certain about it? And what do you have to say about the criticism?
No, I appreciate this opportunity. Look, as I stated, I was being transparent with working with the public on our findings as I had them. I stated in that message that we had a subject and that we were going to interview him, and we did, and he was released. The job of the FBI is not just to manhunt the actual suspect who did the killing or suspects, but it's also to eliminate targets and eliminate subjects who are not involved in the process, and that's what we were doing. Could I have worded it a little better in the heat of the moment? Sure. But do I regret putting it out? Absolutely not. I was telling the world what the FBI was doing as we were doing, and I'm continuing to do that, and I challenge anyone out there to find a director that has been more transparent and more willing to work the media on high-profile cases, or any case the FBI is handling, than we have been.
And just follow, do you think that guy was part of the plot to distract you while this guy got away? Do you think there's any connection between two of those people that stood up and acted crazy at that moment?
Well, as it's now been publicly reported, these people, some of these people were taking claims for this horrific act of violence, and they had nothing to do with it. Others were working what we call a daisy chain analyses, and this is where the cell phone data dumps are so important. We're seeing who talked to who, not just in chat groups. We're seeing who texted who was around who. We're using our geofencing capabilities to map out exactly where individuals were, and then we're also getting into their personal cell phone information to say, were you calling so-and-so? Were you texting so-and-so? And we know the suspect was communicating with folks, but as I've said, that cell phone tower information, you got to get it the right way, with search warrants, with lawful authority, so that our prosecutors can use it in court for whatever investigations they decide to prosecute.
Cash, he's not saying a word. He's not admitting it. Is he remorseful? And what happens to him? Does he get the death penalty?
Well, I'll let the state authorities speak to their prosecution, which is ongoing. As I think your summary is correct, based on my information that I have, he has not been cooperating in terms of interrogations with our law enforcement officials.
And Mr. Director, we always appreciate it because every time there's silence, that's when the conspiracy theories pop up.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you coming out with us today and just telling people what you know. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mr. Director.
Thank you so much.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube.
All right, so I just heard that Dan Bongino is going to be on Fox talking about the crowd possibly assisting the Kirk suspect or some people in the crowd. We're going to take a look at that when that comes up. That'll be coming up in 37 minutes.
Puerto Rico, the 13th of September, tensions in the Caribbean theater reached a new peak as Washington escalated its military posture by deploying 5 F-35 Lightning II Street Elf fighter jets to Puerto Rico. The arrival of these fifth-generation aircraft on Saturday signals a decisive step in the ongoing standoff between the United States and Venezuela, intensifying pressure on Caracas while reshaping the balance of power in the region. The deployment is part of a broader order by President Donald Trump, who authorized the movement of 10 F-35 jets to the Caribbean. The first wave of 5 aircraft has now touched down at Ceiba Air Base, a former U.S. naval station, Roosevelt Roads, which has been repurposed as a forward operating hub. The choice of Puerto Rico is far from coincidental. Its geographical proximity to Venezuela places advanced U.S. air power just minutes away from the northern coast of South America, underscoring Washington's readiness to project force at short notice. Beyond the fighter jets, U.S. forces have also flown in attack helicopters and MV-22 Osprey tiltrotor transport aircraft, expanding the range of combat and logistical options available to commanders on the ground. This diverse mix of air assets highlights the Pentagon's intent not merely to deter, but also to maintain rapid response capability should the situation escalate into direct confrontation. This sudden surge in U.S. deployments follows a surprise visit by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, accompanied by senior Pentagon general. The timing of their arrival has raised eyebrows among military analysts as it coincides with increased diplomatic hostility between Washington and Caracas. The visit is widely interpreted as a signal that the United States is not only reinforcing its military presence, but also recalibrating its overall strategy toward Venezuela and the broader Caribbean basin. Anytime the U.S. moves its most advanced aircraft into a region, it sends a message not just to adversaries, but to allies as well, noted a former Air Force strategist. This deployment shows that Washington is serious about its deterrence posture and prepared for contingency. The F-35 Lightning II represents the pinnacle of modern combat aviation. Designed for stealth, versatility, and dominance across multiple domains, the jet provides unparalleled advantages in intelligence gathering, strike capability, and electronic warfare. With Venezuela's military relying heavily on legacy Russian-made aircraft such as the Sukhoi Su-30 Mk2, the presence of the F-35 dramatically tilts the regional air power equation in Washington's favor. Furthermore, the F-35 Advanced Network Systems enable seamless coordination with other U.S. assets, From warships patrolling the Caribbean to surveillance drones operating along contested air corridors, this integration effectively places Venezuela under a near constant watch, constraining its freedom of action. For Caracas, the deployment is a stark reminder of its vulnerable position. President Nicolas Maduro has frequently accused Washington of plotting regime change, and the arrival of F-35 jets on his doorstep may fuel such perceptions further.
Hey, Mike, what do you want to know about thermography? You're right, their classes are expensive as shit, but I used to teach thermography, so what do you want to know? I mean, I could probably do a class on the network one weekend for you, and you'd know more than FLIR would ever teach you. Hell, I used to teach FLIR. All right, well, you've got, the most important things to know about FLIR, and FLIR is forward-looking infrared. That's really an inaccurate description of what it is. Infrared is a frequency range of light. Technically, thermal is a different frequency of energy. FLIR is normally referring to 3 to 5 or 8 to 12 microns, depending upon what you want to see and how far you want to look. Depends upon which one of those you want. In addition to FLIR, you also have SWIR, which is shortwave infrared. So those are the three that you need to know: 3 to 5, 8 to 12, and SWIR. The main big difference between thermal imagers are you have thermal imagers, and then you have radiometric detectors. The difference between a thermal imager and a radiometric detector is a radiometric detector, each of the pixels is calibrated, and a radiometric detector doesn't see reflections on a surface as bad as a thermal imager will. So say, for example, you're looking at the side of a trailer or a flat sheet of metal or a piece of glass. A radiometric detector will give you the actual temperature of the surface that you're looking at. Whereas that with a FLIR or a thermal imager, not a radiometric detector, you'll see reflections in it. You'll see yourself. If you light a cigarette or a cigarette lighter or there's a fire or something, you'll see that reflection a whole lot more on a thermal imager than you will on a radiometric detector. Also, if you want to see the temperature of a device or of a surface or whatever it is, to see that actual temperature, it has to be a radiometric detector. And then there's a variety of different color palettes that can be applied to that temperature contrast difference, and that can be gated, and you can determine what temperatures that you want that to gate at. There's a lot of ways that you can do that. Thermal imagers are now up to 4K in resolution. You can buy a house for what a nice house with land for what a full-blown 4K radiometric detector will cost, and any radiometric detector that has less than 640 lines is pretty much junk. So hopefully that answers most of your questions.
Domestically, it could embolden hardliners while pushing moderates toward negotiating position. Regionally, the move raises concerns among Caribbean and Latin American nations wary of escalating tensions spiraling into conflict. Some U.S. allies, however, may quietly welcome the show of force as reassurance of Washington's commitment to regional security. The coming days will be critical in determining whether this deployment remains a deterrent maneuver or evolves into a broader campaign of coercive military pressure, with additional F-35 jets expected to arrive. Alongside the possibility of naval deployments, Washington is clearly laying the groundwork for sustained operations in the Caribbean theater. For now, the presence of America's most advanced warplanes in Puerto Rico stands as both a warning and a promise, one that Caracas cannot afford to ignore. The arrival of 5 F-35 Lightning II jets in Puerto Rico is more than a symbolic show of force. It represents the creation of a flexible strike package capable of responding to multiple contingencies should tensions with Venezuela intensify. In any potential confrontation, the U.S. Air Force's first priority would be to neutralize Venezuela's air defenses. The F-35 stealth profile, coupled with advanced radar jamming capabilities, makes it uniquely suited for suppression of enemy air defenses SAD missions. Venezuela's Russian-supplied S-300VM anti-air systems and Book M2 platforms pose a credible threat, but the Lightning II's ability to detect and strike from beyond visual range provides Washington with a decisive edge. Should hostilities escalate, F-35 could execute surgical strikes against command and control nodes, air bases, and radar sites.
And we'll see if they do that. They don't want to bring F-35s into close proximity because of how much they cost and how much of a loss it would be if one of them were to be shot down. F-35s are not a close-in weapon system. They're a standoff. We shoot you with stealth. You blow up before you know that we are here. I don't know what you mean, A to Z, handheld drone detection system, be ready. What are you talking about? That's, what do you mean? Yeah, we're here because we're being monetized. They sent us an email this morning and said they would monetize us. So that's why we're here. What do you mean, do I think the invasion will begin? I don't think the United States is going to invade Venezuela. I don't see that happening. There are millions of people in Venezuela, and lots of them have guns. And what is the purpose of invading Venezuela? We don't need to invade Venezuela. What needs to be done is an illegal drug lord needs to be removed from power. In fact, we got longitude and latitude of his underground bunker at the airport. For those of you who were watching the other day and watched 24 private jets move to an airfield, we couldn't figure out why they were moving 24 jets to the airfield. Now we know why. At that airfield is where his underground bunker is located. And if they put a bunch of aircraft around it and they all launch at the same time going to different countries, you don't know which country he's going to. So we just need to remove a drug lord who is now the president, illegally put in place, and remove the foreign influences, the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, Hezbollah, all those folks, including the Mexican Air Force that are now in Venezuela. They need to be dealt with. Also, there's an island off of the coast of Venezuela that the Russians have now taken over. We'll fly that on the flight simulator. Yeah, I'm not a fan of TikTok either. You're right, Homestead. The world is full of misinformation. People get paid for lying to you. I'm just trying to get paid and tell you the truth. Big difference there, big difference. Also, for you guys over on the other stream, if there is a link at the top of the chat, then you need to go to that link because you are watching a channel. There's 53 of you over there. You're watching a channel that we're not going to use anymore. We are just having that up so you guys can see it. So, man, you need to go to the link at the top of the chat. E-Wedge, Major Ron, Terry Flores. Y'all need to go to the link at the top of the chat and follow us over there because you guys are on the channel that we're going to discontinue using. So, also, if you like the content, well, you can now donate to us. Just like Thomas did. Mr. Davy Thomas just gave us $10. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Need more people like you. We went 7 years without being monetized on YouTube. We broadcast there for free or here for free for 7 years trying to get YouTube to monetize us. And we finally said, screw you, YouTube. And we stopped streaming on YouTube and we went to another platform. This morning we got an email from YouTube that said, oh, we'd like to monetize you on YouTube. Really? So we're trying it out to see if it's actually going to work. So the other channel that we had that was the larger channel, they didn't want to monetize that one. So we're not going to broadcast on that one. We're only going to broadcast on this one. So here we are. Also, we've gotten an offer from Kick to broadcast on their platform, and they said they would pay us anywhere between $10 and $150 an hour, depending upon how many members or how many people were watching us over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start an account over there, and we're going to do a few shows over there to see if indeed they do that. And if they do, well, then we'll do a chat over there so you can look at my ugly mug just like you are right now. And we'll answer your questions in the chat, tell you what's going on, show you what's going on. And from what I understand, they won't try to censor what we say. They're going to let us tell you the truth. So we're going to try that over on Kick. We'll let you know the link for that when we get that set up. So we are waiting on the deputy director of the FBI to speak. Dan Bongino is going to be speaking on Fox News here coming up in 20 minutes. And so we're going to bring that up so you guys can hear that. Hear what he's got to say about the investigation ongoing. And let's see what else we've got here. There was a deal made with TikTok.
Спасибо за приглашение. Очень рад, что вы отозвались на наше приглашение. Ракетами «Штурм М» или «Атака М».
They've closed their border in response. Do you think their concerns are correct?
All right, and that was audio from the U.S. majors who were at the exercise in ZAPAD. And the interesting thing was they had truckloads of the exact kind of drones that just landed in Poland. Interesting how that happens. Let's see what else we've got here.
News alert, we're learning chilling new details about Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin and what he did immediately following the shooting.
So it comes as officials revealed the suspect is refusing to cooperate with the authorities.
Garrett Tenney joins us live outside of the Utah County Jail with more. Good morning, Garrett.
Good morning, y'all. We have learned that Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin is being held in a separate unit here at the Utah County Jail and is under special watch to make sure he doesn't hurt himself or others before his first court appearance tomorrow. And as you mentioned, the suspect is not cooperating with the investigation. But Utah Governor Spencer Cox says other people close to the suspect are cooperating.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. His roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. He
said in the past, I think we've learned a lot more.
Places of unit here at the Utah County Jail and is
transitioning.
is under special watch to make sure he doesn't hurt himself or others before his first court appearance tomorrow. And as you mentioned, the suspect is not cooperating with the investigation. But Utah Governor Spencer Cox says other people close to the suspect
who is transitioning from male to female, he is cooperating with authorities as well.
Investigators are also trying to put together a timeline for the suspect's radicalization, and officials say it appears to have happened over the last few years as the suspect was spending an increasing amount of time in the, quote, dark places of the internet. The New York Times reports that after the FBI released surveillance images of the suspect, an acquaintance tagged him in an online group chat, and the suspect allegedly replied that his doppelganger was trying to, quote, get me in trouble. And then when another person joked that they should turn him in for the reward, the suspect allegedly responded, only if I get a cut. We also have this new surveillance video obtained by TMZ showing the alleged assassin walking to UVU's campus the morning of the shooting. This was about 4 hours beforehand, wearing a maroon shirt and light-colored shorts, and that he later changed out of before returning to campus shortly before the shooting, wearing those dark clothes we saw in those surveillance photos. The suspect will be appearing virtually for his first court appearance tomorrow, and we are told that after those charges are filed tomorrow, before that court appearance, we are going to learn a lot more about this investigation and what they are learning so far. Back to y'all.
All right, Garrett, thanks so much. The one thing that comes to mind, too, is that you initially thought that maybe he was cooperating because they got information on his dad convinced him to go. We heard all that, but he's not. So I guess we're going to have to look at, and we'll find out from Kash Patel, we're going to have to look at his online chats, his online presence, what was going on. And then we have relatives of his partner who was transitioning. That person speaking out that he got radicalized. And then you have to look at possibly how they have made a statement that they're looking to widen the investigation and to probe whether pro-trans online groups and others connected with Robinson knew in advance about the plan to kill him. But the mindset of a guy, they could assassinate someone, we assume for the first time in his life, and go online and engage and be lighthearted and just mock the fact that he looks like the killer, even though he is, that mindset, I just can't understand.
Well, I know if you go on social media and you start watching some videos about Charlie Kirk and some of the past comments and some of his speeches, another one will pop up and another one will pop up. So I spent a lot of the weekend going through a lot of what he has said in the past. I think we've learned a lot more about him, even in death, than we did in life. And then we were all craving some sort of a spiritual component yesterday. And Sean and I went to church, or we watched church online, a church we love in South Carolina. And they honored Charlie Kirk. The pastor said, could everyone please kneel and let's say a prayer for Charlie. He also remembered the family of the girl who was slain on the train in North Carolina. And there's something called, Lawrence, the Charlie effect. It's Christians online are revealing that they've been attending Mass to celebrate his fearless pursuit of Jesus.
Diane, show footage of what? The ZAPAD exercise, or what are you talking about?
And one person wrote online, my son asked if I wanted to go to church with him on Sunday. He's not a church goer. We're going to Saturday Mass, the Charlie Kirk effect. Another one said, the Catholic church where I attended Mass today, remember Charlie Kirk in his priest's homily. Masses are being offered across the country for the repose of his soul.
So that's important for two reasons, Ainsley. I think what's happening in remembering Charlie shows potential other assassins that if you thought you were going to silence a movement, the opposite is happening. But I think as it goes to the investigation, to Brian's point, there's a couple of things that still need to be solved there in the sense of, in the chat room, okay, they say these messages, and we're going to ask the director that's going to be coming up on our show in the next hour, FBI director, this happened after the assassin. Okay, so obviously there was a chat.
I can show the footage on Rumble. I can show the footage on Kick, but I can't show the footage on YouTube. They'll do everything they can to demonetize me again. So I'm not going to show it here. I'm not going to risk it. If you want to see the footage, then you should come watch the news broadcast tonight on Rumble, or the news broadcast that we're going to do on Kick. We'll have a lot of stuff over there. When we do the news broadcast on Kick, it'll be more like this, and we can show you the footage of what's going on. But here on YouTube, hell no, you can't do anything like that. You show anything, they get their panties in a wad.
Going on before, did he discuss any of his plans before? He felt comfortable bragging that he looked like the assassin when he really was the assassin. So there had to be some type of conversation. We also know that relatives said that he was very vocal about him hating Charlie Kirk. So he's been talking with his family members about it as well. Also, the narrative a couple days ago with this guy was MAGA. He obviously was not MAGA, and we found out that his lover is transitioning. It wasn't just a roommate. It was someone that he was intimate with. All of that impacts this investigation.
And he's cooperating.
He's cooperating.
We understand that too, I guess.
We are going to be setting up the Kick broadcasts, or signing up and working with them starting this evening. I don't think we're going to do a broadcast as far as a news broadcast there tonight. We're just going to get it set up. Maybe tomorrow we'll broadcast on Kick, get a bunch of people to come over there and sign up. Then once we do that, we will be part of their partnership program. They want us to bring, I think, 1,000 followers and something else over there with us. We got to have some subscribers and so on and so forth before they'll do it. So getting 1,000 followers is nothing. We've got over 100,000 followers. So getting 1% of our followers to follow us on Kick should be pretty easy. So we'll tell everybody we're over there and get that set up. And then once that's set up, we'll start doing basically one-on-ones like this. And then we can show the commentary. We can show the content. We can do all of that stuff over there. It'll be considered a chat, or I think they call it something else. But anyway, it's not quite a broadcast. It's more of a sit and chat, one-on-one conversation, which is actually what we've been trying to do on YouTube for years, is to just have a place where we can go and sit like this and talk and, you know, tell the truth back and forth and not have to worry about a bunch of idiots or trolls or people that live in their mommy's basement. So that's what we're going to do over there and get that all set up for everybody. So until then, we'll be here, and we're going to try to get that set up tonight, and maybe we'll stream there tomorrow.
To a degree, and we'll see. I would say this: the family conservative, he evidently wasn't. They said that a couple of his coworkers said, yeah, he was very quiet. And in fact, one time we were having a conversation about politics, and most of us at work, at the electrician, where he was an electrician, he left in 2023, started talking about politics. He went into the laundry room and just sat there by himself, isolated. He couldn't handle the conservative talk. So, I mean, you begin to see that. They said the only other time he showed interest is when you talked about guns.
Well, we've all been wondering who's going to take over for Charlie Kirk for his show. And J.D. Vance put on X.
No, Charlie, transitioning doesn't mean that you're getting your weenie whacked. Transitioning means that you're going to go from giving to receiving.
Tomorrow, he wrote this yesterday, tomorrow I will have the honor of hosting the Charlie Kirk Show. Please join me as I pay tribute to my friend, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So he'll be hosting the show today.
So one of Charlie Kirk's business partners, everyone thinks, when you're honoring a man, you think it's just about Charlie. But I think what you're learning is that it's bigger than him because of the young people that he represented.
Right.
So his business partner and executive producer shared this news yesterday. He said, I wanted to share a praise report from TPUSA. The organization has received over 32,000 inquiries in the last 48 hours on how to start new chapters. To put that into perspective, TPUSA currently has 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 high school chapters with a presence of 35,000 total. Charlie's vision to have a Club America chapter, our high school brand, and every high school in America, around 23,000, will come true much more faster than could have ever possibly imagined. Truly incredible. And that's his mission. That's what he wanted.
Andrew was very impressive with Laura Ingraham. It's the first time I've seen him, but you just know to get these events going like the way they're going, there has to be an organizer, a Tim Cook type person behind the scenes with a Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was the vision, Tim Cook was the implementer, and Steve Jobs dies, Tim Cook steps up and elevates other people. Maybe it could be something on a smaller scale like that. I also think that if people are, like I look at a guy like Reince Priebus, who ran the RNC brilliantly. If there are organizationally minded people that could help in at this moment to set the tone, because this is the moment where people are open to what is Turning Point. Let me help out. I love this guy. I'm finding out about him for the first time. I just hope people on the outside could say, I'm going to use my expertise to help out. That could be your way of having a tribute.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with the younger generation and how they're carrying on his conservative activism. And I was so impressed with his wife over the weekend. I think everyone was. Yeah. It's what a lot of people were talking about this weekend. She had this emotional address to the nation, and it was her first public appearance after her husband was killed. Here's a clip of Erica Kirk.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever.
That knows Erica, she's a sweet person, and everybody loves her. She used to be Miss Arizona, as I said last week, and she's normally very calm, cool, collected. She has a Christian wear brand that she likes to sell and just share the gospel in that way. There's been some debate, who's going to be the person to take over? I think she pretty much cemented it with her speech yesterday. I've never seen her with such just focus on the mission. And I think she's right. You're going to be hearing from her. And she said during that speech that the Turning Point event that was planned, the tour, will continue. I mean, can you imagine after your husband was just assassinated and you're saying you're going to continue the rest of the tour? The big Turning Point event, she said, is going to continue. She's not resting at all.
I think that's what he would have wanted. That was his whole mission. And if you look at his social media accounts, my goodness, they have surged. Look, just comparing Instagram from September 9th to what it is today, almost doubled. Look at TikTok. It was 7.3, now it's 9.3. His YouTube, 3.8, now it's 4.7. And YouTube for Turning Point USA is now at 3.8.
I mean, that's going to be the impact. You got the numbers, you got the chapters, you have the social media presence that's going to make news every time something's posted.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley.
And I'm Blake Wilbarger, and we are going to go to the live stream with Dan Bongino coming up here on Fox News. That's supposed to be coming up here just a minute from now. So as soon as Dan goes live, well, we're going to bring it to you. We've actually got the feed already up. We are waiting for that to start. And that's going to be Dan talking about what's going on with the Charlie Kirk assassination. And did people in the crowd actually support the shooter, the assassin? Were there people in the crowd doing things to help the assassin in his endeavors to end the life of Charlie Kirk? We're going to be finding out here in just a minute. Now, Mr. Medvedev, you know, that alcoholic that speaks for the Russians. Well, excuse me, let me rephrase that. There's a lot of alcoholics that speak for the Russians. But Medvedev, the boozer who lays in his bed drinking booze and writes stupid tweets, has now claimed that Russia is at war with NATO. All the evidence you need is there before you. There can be no question that Russia and NATO are at war. Oh, here we go. All right, got a minute and 40 seconds until Mr. Dan Bongino is going to be speaking here. Want to hear what good old Danny boy has to say. I sent him a text message the other day. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. I'm going to go by and see him when I'm in Washington. Well, Tim, you need to go to the link at the top of the chat there, buddy. You're on the wrong channel. We're getting rid of that channel, and we're going to be on the other one. So if you want to see us, you need to go over and subscribe to the other one there, buddy. So let me know in the chat on the one that you're supposed to be on. So get over there, Tim. Hurry up. We're waiting on Tim. You'd bet that money that the roommate is involved? Well, I wouldn't doubt that. He's involved with the shooter. Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck and the roommate got shot in the ass. And here we go.
Everyone, on this Monday morning, we saw an outpouring of support from coast to coast over the weekend, north into Canada for the late Charlie Kirk, how people across the country now are paying tribute, as we say. Although somber weekend, we'll get to everything this coming week. We'll take it day by day. I'm Bill Hemmer. Dana's got the week off, and welcome to our coverage as we begin anew to our old friend.
Tough couple of days. Good morning to you. Good to see you. I'm Aisha Hasni, and this is America's Newsroom. So it was a weekend of remembrance, Bill. Everybody from musicians to athletes and everyday Americans all mourning Charlie Kirk.
Charlie, 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 Charlie. How sweet
It's been hitting me harder in the last couple of days, and I just wanted to let Erica Kirk know that me and my family are sending prayers her way.
So now we know that Charlie Kirk's memorial service is set for Sunday in Arizona. President Trump will be there. It will be held in a football stadium where the Arizona Cardinals play, capacity 78,000 possibly. Wow. This is Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica, reacted to the assassination on Friday evening and then sent out a few of these photos from over the weekend. She vows to continue his legacy and make the movement even stronger than what he started.
Meanwhile, Bill, we are still learning more about his suspected assassin. Officials are telling us that he is not cooperating with them, but his family and his friends are talking. And FBI Director Kash Patel gave us an update on this investigation this morning. Listen.
I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody. The suspect.
Wonder what he was doing with that towel before he wrapped a gun up in it.
Wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
We're going to get into all of that with FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino. He's here with us this morning. But first, let's go to Garrett Tenney. He is in Spanish Fork, Utah. Good morning to you.
Aisha, good morning to you. Apart from that note that Director Patel mentioned, we have also learned that Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin also sent a text message to a different individual saying essentially the same thing, that he had an opportunity to take Charlie out and that he was going to do it because he hated what Charlie stood for. So this is part of the investigation now, looking into who knew what and when. And as part of that, we've learned the FBI is investigating left-wing groups in Utah to see if they knew about the accused killer's plans or provided him with any kind of help.
We're seeing who talked to who, not just in chat groups. We're seeing who texted who was around who. We're using our geofencing capabilities to map out exactly where individuals were. And then we're also getting into their personal cell phone information to say, were you calling so-and-so? Were you texting so-and-so? And we know the suspect was communicating with folks.
we're also getting a glimpse into the suspect's mindset during the days after the assassination. This new surveillance video obtained by TMZ shows the 22-year-old walking up to UVU's campus the morning of the shooting, just as about 4 hours before it happened, wearing a maroon shirt and light-colored shorts. We know he later changed into this outfit that the FBI released images of. After those images went out, we have learned that some of the suspect's friends in an online group chat were joking that he looked just like the man in those pictures. The New York Times reports that the suspect allegedly replied that his doppelganger was trying to, quote, get me in trouble. And when another friend joked that the group could turn him in for the reward, the suspect allegedly said, quote, only if I get a cut. Back here at the Utah County Jail, officials tell us the suspect is being held in a separate unit under special watch to make sure he doesn't hurt himself or others before his first court appearance tomorrow. We're told he will appear virtually and that ahead of that hearing, prosecutors will formally file charges against him. Aisha?
Okay, Garrett Tenney live for us. Garrett, thank you.
So Dan Bongino is the FBI Deputy Director. And sir, thank you for your time this morning. Important stuff here after a very heavy weekend. Thank you for being here. I want to go back to last week on the day that he was killed. Try and clear up a few things as best we can. Did anyone in that crowd aid or assist this assassination?
Well, that's what we're looking into now, Bill. Obviously, we have a suspect in custody. It's quite clear. It's why I'm here discussing this individual. However, if this was a larger effort, there was any aiding and abetting, whether it be financial, whether it be someone who knew the specifics of it and failed to report that. As you heard the director say this morning, we as an FBI, our team, along with our state and local partners, are looking into that. We have a lot of technical capabilities, a lot of good investigative capabilities, where we can scrub that entire network, whether it's OSINT, open source intel, through social media that people posted publicly. We'll be looking at that. We'll also be dropping a lot of paper, a lot of subpoenas out there to take a look to see if there was any extended network. But I want to be clear, there are things I can say, as you well know today, and things I can't. I don't want to get ahead or jeopardize the investigation. But what I can share with you, Bill, I will. We are clinging to transparency here. This is the era of the, Cronkite and Jennings generation is over. New media now is media. And we want to be sure we can do everything in our power to share what we can, when we can, while still balancing the needs of the investigation.
Okay, I heard Kash Patel 90 minutes ago in our program. I want to get to a couple of things that he made news on. But first, I want to drill in on this. Is there any connection at all between the person who was asking the question about mass shooters and trans killers, or was that just a stunning coincidence when that single shot was fired?
Well, we're investigating that. I don't want to say conclusively right now if there was a connection or not. Charlie was known to speak out about these issues. He was a powerful voice. It's not terribly uncommon for him to get questions like that. However, we are looking into that. Any potential connection here,
okay, so
we're going to scrub.
I'm not drawing conclusions from your answer, but you're saying it's a possibility. Is that what I hear you saying?
We're looking into everything, Bill. There's not going to be a stone left unturned if there was anyone involved who aided, abetted. I can't say that in strong enough terms. Every single FBI asset on this team is being applied and used in this investigation.
Okay, after he fired that single fatal shot, we've got the video of him jumping off the backside of the building. Where is the gun when he drops 15 feet down to the grass below?
Well, if you look at the video, the gun is you'll see in the back of the video, when you're watching the video right there, it appears from the video here that the gun is either in the backpack or on him. When he jumps down, this is where, by the way, this part of the video, this is where we got a significant portion of the forensic evidence in the case, which we had to expedite. We had a number of assets, including fixed wing assets, to be able to fly. Obviously, Salt Lake and that specific area in Provo is not around the corner from FBI labs. It was difficult. But we were able, during that scene, him grabbing that particular side of the building and jumping down, we were able to gather a significant amount of forensic information, which we expedited back to the lab, which was the key piece of information that we were able to crack this thing open.
Okay. Just looking at that video, it's hard to see the weapon, and that's why the question is still obvious to me today. Kash Patel said earlier today that he expressed to someone that he had an opportunity to take out the killer and was going to do it. Did that person do anything with that information?
Yeah, that's what we're really disturbed about. It appears that this was communicated. You see this a lot, Bill, when in targeted violence cases, assassinations, school shootings, where the individual expresses in advance in a good swath of these cases his desire or her desire to do these specific things. That appears to be the case here as well, where the intent component was there in advance and the target was announced in advance prior. Now, that's the part we want to know. Did they know and not say? Now, Bill, you have to keep in mind, and I don't want anyone to jump to conclusions on this. Did they say it, hear it, and think it was some kind of a joke? That's what we're trying to find out now. But I promise you, if there's a larger network here, we're going to get that out to the public as soon as we can. We really
Okay, the reason why this is really important to your investigation, understanding motive that I'll get to in a moment here, is that I believe that if I've got the dates right here, that event was announced 1 week before it happened. And we've got the reporting from over the weekend that said that the killer, the accused killer now, expressed views with his family at a dinner table. And I don't know what the time.
Oh, it did it again. So it's not muted this time. So we'll do it again. And I've got so much stuff plugged into the USB here on the server that I've got an echo issue. And so the way it's going to work is we are not leaving Rumble. We have 17 channels on Rumble. We're going to continue to broadcast on Rumble. And we were invited by YouTube to come back here. They said this morning, they sent us an email and said, hey, we have monetized you. Will you come back and broadcast? So we are back. We wanted to see if indeed we were monetized. And so indeed we are. So we came back to try it here. We've also been invited by Kick to stream over there. Now, when we do it on Kick, it's going to be more like this. We're going to do pretty much a live chat. We're going to talk about the news of the day as it happens. We're going to put up videos. So, thank you. But anyway, we want to be able to broadcast to you guys on a variety of different platforms, and we want to be paid when we're on those platforms. We broadcast here on YouTube for 7 years, and we're never monetized. The entire 7 years we were on YouTube, not for 1 second were we monetized. Now we are. So we're going to mind our P's and Q's to make sure that we can stay monetized over here. And we are going to be broadcasting on Kick, hopefully starting tomorrow. We're going to try to get that set up tonight. We have to get some followers and we have to get some subscribers over there. And once we do that, then we will get monetized. Also, we get 95% of what we bring in on Kick, whereas that on Rumble, we only get about 70%. Same thing on YouTube, we get about 70%. So Kick will pay us a lot more, and Kick will pay us per hour to be on the air over there. Like I said, they'll pay us anywhere from $10 an hour to $150 an hour, which is way more than what we are making on Rumble or what we are making here on YouTube. So for all of you who have donated here on YouTube, thank you kindly for that. Also, if you are watching, we have 2 YouTube channels broadcasting us right now. We're simulcasting. If you are in the one that has the link on top of it, well, that's the channel that we are going to use as our reserve channel. And you need to go to the link at the top of that chat and follow us there, because that will be the primary channel for KLW World News. So back to Bongino.
Timeline is between when that happened. Was it hours or was it days? I mean, clearly it had to be at least a couple days, if not less. And if he also expressed this opinion that he had an opportunity to take out Kirk and was going to do it, well, when was that message transmitted?
Yeah,
from the point that Charlie was killed?
This is the troubling part of the investigation as I see it now. There appear to have been multiple warning signs. You just laid out some of them. There were people in his network, friends and family, who had stated that he had become more political, that he had become, at some parts, I believe some of his coworkers had stated that he had kind of detached himself when the topic of politics came up and walked away from them. Family members said he'd become more political, leading us to believe that this ideology had infected him and had taken over. And he was just intent, it appears, from the data we've accumulated and the channel and that note, which we have some evidence may have existed before based on the communications in that channel, that his target was obviously going to be Charlie and that people knew in advance. The question is, again, I just want to go back to what you had asked before. Did they know, were they sure of this, or did they hear this and just write it off? That's what we're going to have to find out, and that's what we're investigating now. Bill, this investigation is just begun. This isn't even the beginning of the beginning. You know, yes, we have a subject in custody. You know, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in our constitutional republic. However, this is not done by any stretch. Our men and women out there in the Bureau have worked tirelessly all week, and I just got back to D.C. Last night. And, Cash and I were out there on the scene. We walked the scene. We went through every single component of it. We saw the evidence up close and personal. And we went out there to be able to make command decisions with our team on the ground. And I think the process, although not perfect, of course, I think the process went pretty well, considering we got him in 33 hours.
Okay, yeah, I respect the process here, too. The governor, Cox, said he had a leftist ideology. I don't know what issues were important to him. Maybe you can share that with us today. And Kash Patel said, if I've got this right, he said, I'm looking at facts, not motive. What's the working theory now as to motive?
Well, I think it's pretty clear based on the statements of family members, friends, and some of the messaging we have on these digital footprints left behind, that he clearly had some obsession with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is obviously a conservative commentator. That's no secret to anyone out there. So while, again, I don't want to speak in advance and jeopardize the case in any way, I think it's fairly obvious to everyone out there, and there's no need to parse words with it, that clearly this was an ideologically motivated attack. I mean, Charlie Kirk is a conservative commentator who sadly and tragically gave his life, underneath a sign asking people to challenge his ideas, the very essence of our constitutional republic. And Bill, if I may, I know it's a news show, but Charlie was my friend. Charlie wasn't my friend. Charlie was my good friend. And I spent the weekend, after coming back from Utah, looking through text exchanges going back years with Charlie. And it's kind of hard to believe he's not here. So, this has been hard for everyone. And I think it's fair and appropriate for every one of the taxpayers who finances your FBI to ask questions about everything. You know what? It wasn't perfect, but it should be. Next time we'll try to make it more perfect. But I just ask everyone to keep in mind that both Cash and I, this was very emotional for us. We had to put that aside. We had a job to do. And when everything settled down and finally got a little bit of sleep last night, it hit me that, you know, Charlie's not here anymore. And that was tough for everyone. So I'm not asking for anybody's forgiveness for missteps here and there. We got our guy in 33 hours. Everything, we're going to go look at everything when this is done. And next time, when there's a crisis, what we can do well, we can do better, we can do better, we can do even better than that.
Yeah, Dan, I'm sorry for your loss, and I appreciate your work in the story and the investigation. It's important to America and the world to figure this out, and I hope we do in quick order, I will say. But thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Bill.
And let's get it right.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Dan.
Thanks.
I'm Steve Doocy.
And I'm Lee Wilbarger, and we are going to end this broadcast and go back over to Rumble and do the news over there, the events of the day, because, well, we can show you everything and tell you everything over there, whereas that we can't do that here. But we just wanted to be here today so as that you guys could see that, well, this is going to be our primary YouTube channel. It will not be our primary channel. When there is breaking news, we will come here and let you know that there is breaking news, but we will be covering that news either on Rumble or on Kick. So we're going to be setting up our Kick account tonight, and hopefully we can stream there a little bit tomorrow to see how that works out. That'll be in 4K from what we understand. That'll be a great thing because YouTube won't really let you stream in 4K, nor will YouTube allow you to tell the truth or show the truth. We just use this as a platform to alert people that the truth is being put out, and we tell them where they can go get the truth. So thank you guys for being here, and we will see you on Rumble coming up shortly. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Appreciate everybody that supports us.
That's all, folks.